Happy freaking hump day. We're halfway through the work week. We're halfway to another weekend of craziness on the gridiron. And speaking of crazy, I think Major League Baseball has done lost its damn mind over the last 48 hours. And does anybody want to actually make the playoffs outside of the teams that have already handled their business? Well, we'll tell you about that here in just a damn second. Glad to see that everybody is dressed normally today. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. We'll get as many of them as we can up on your telly, on your phone, on your tablet, however the hell you're watching. We appreciate you. Follow us on all of our social channels at Mike Arana Show everywhere but Snapchat. TJ, for the newbies tonight, why are we not on Snapchat?
Mike, I will tell you why we're not on Snapchat. Because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks.
That's exactly it. Vegas Mac has ditched the... He says it was dress up like a surfer yesterday. I think he had the biker surfer motif kind of intertwined there. And the biker part of it was probably one of those pay-as-you-go scooters if you saw yesterday's program. Vegas Mac, how the hell are you, buddy?
You've just never seen me dress at the beach. That's the only problem. So
I don't know if I want to see you dress at the beach after that.
That's how I dress at the beach. I don't want to burn, so I was, protecting from the burn.
Jiminy freaking Christmas. Plenty of stuff going on. Let's dive right into the baseball world. Last night when we were on these very airwaves, television screens, again, however you're watching, we only had one team that had clinched a spot in the American League side of the postseason picture. Well, by the time we all put our heads on the respective pillows or wherever you sleep, it's up to you. I don't really care. We got two more American League teams in. The New York Yankees walked off the White Sox. That sounds weird to say, but they got the job done. And the Seattle Mariners, they did what they needed to do and clinched at home. And now it's all about positioning here. So tonight we're going to kind of look into the crystal ball and into the future, because while we do have shows at the end of this week, and we'll set that table for you, the next time we're on next week will be day one of the wild card series. They'll literally be going on as we speak. So I'm going to drop a couple predictions out there. Predict the field. Those will be part of the party, if you will. Cubs and Mets in the bottom of the second right now. No score there. Cincinnati not doing themselves any favors while the Mets are trying to gift wrap everything for them, as TJ told you on our social channels today. There's some crazy, crazy shit going on right now, Mac.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati's going to be kicking themselves for 3 or 4 months if they don't make the playoffs because they got swept at home by Pittsburgh. No disrespect to Pittsburgh, but it's these are games that they should be winning. Let's just be honest. And the thing is, like, it's their offense. They're not scoring any runs. It was a low scoring game yesterday. They're being shut out right now, going into the bottom of the eighth. So their offense is letting them down.
Yeah, crazy stuff. And the race for the third and final wild card spot in both leagues has been fascinating theater. And when we started this week, we didn't really expect the American League to be a ton of theater, but it's turned into... There are so many scenarios with that wild card 3 spot, especially in the American League side now, that have kind of come to light, as Detroit is losing again to Cleveland right now as we sit here and talk. Bottom of the fifth, 2-1 Guardians from Cleveland there. I don't know, T, if I can remember an end of the year race that's been crazier than what this one's been.
No, you got 3 teams basically fighting for 2 spots here. I mean, but I think what the most incredible thing is how these teams got to these spots. You got Cleveland, who's just been on a heater. Seattle is on even a bigger heater than Cleveland, and they now are running away with the division. And then you've got Houston and Detroit, who have just completely crapped the bed. And it's just, I don't remember, Mike, any team and any teams like so opposite, and now they're all bunched together in this race. And yeah, like, who wants to go? It's going to be a battle of attrition for these guys.
Yeah, and there's definitely some wild stuff going on as we sit here right now at this very minute as we speak, as far as that American League West that you mentioned. Houston's down 4 games to the Mariners. The Mariners have clinched a playoff spot as of last night. But if you do the general math, if you're good at the math stuff, there's 5 games left and they're down by 4. So Time is running out and time is of the essence if you're the Astros. And Mac, the funny thing is, we're talking about this just colossal free fall from the Tigers right now. And the only thing that might be their saving grace for the Tigers is that they do hold the tiebreaker over the aforementioned Astros.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, none of these teams are, well, not all of them, but a couple of them aren't really playing that well. And it's going to be interesting. The Tigers have to go to Boston to finish up the year, and the Red Sox haven't clinched yet either. And so that's going to be an interesting scenario at Fenway this weekend. You've it could come down to you've got two teams that are playing for a final spot, and Houston has the Angels, right? TJ, I think they had the Angels the last one. So yeah, I mean, I really wasn't worried about Detroit. I definitely would be worried if I'm a Tigers fan now. They just have not. It looked like for a while there. I mean, after the All-Star break, they didn't play well. They kind of got it back in. They had that big lead up again, and then they just. They've just fallen apart. That's all there is to it. It's man, it's got to be discouraging. And I think for them, it's like now all of a sudden they look in the mirror and then they're chasing. There's nobody. That's the biggest thing. I think all of a sudden now there's a lot of pressure on them in these last couple of games.
Yeah, and while we're talking about this, I brought this up a couple of weeks ago, and I want to point out two teams here. One of which is actually still mathematically alive, and that's the Miami Marlins. The other one would be the Western Sacramento Nomads, the artist formerly known as the Oakland A's. I got to give a hell of a lot of props to both of these teams. We talked about this, as I said. I think Mac, you were off that day when the A's ended up getting to Chapman and breaking his ridiculous streak. That I thought the A's were going to be kind of a pain in the ass down the stretch here, and they've been exactly that. The Marlins want nothing more than to ruin the Mets' season, so much to the point where they've moved Sandy Alcantara's start back to make sure he pitches against the Mets in that final series. So that's two teams I got to tip my cap to. Not you, John Fisher, you douchebag, but to the A's and to the Marlins for bringing it down the stretch here and really creating some havoc, T.
Yeah, you mentioned the Athletics. They've beaten Houston 6 in a row. That's just incredible, and they got 2 more to come. Like everything points to Houston probably losing again because they can't get their crap together. And the Mets, man, I think I told you guys today they're giving up just a crap ton of runs. Their pitching has been consistently awful over the last 2 months, consistently awful. And it's just the worst time in the world. This is a team that we were talking about around the All-Star break, maybe making a big run in the playoffs. And now we're looking at them going, you have decisions to make maybe sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and in the scenarios, guys, I mean, we probably don't even have time to get to all of them here as far as clinching and home field. The Phillies are helping their own cause tonight. 11-1, they're up right now on the Marlins, and the Dodgers running out of steam and running out of room to try and catch them to potentially get that first round bye. So it looks more likely than not that the Dodgers, if they can hold on to the West, which is not a foregone conclusion here, and a very interesting play here with how the schedule is going to work itself out, Mac. Seattle still has some stuff to play for. LA obviously wants to win the division. They don't want to fall down into a wild card spot. They play each other this weekend. And in a series where normally we'd see a couple teams maybe back off the gas pedal a little bit, there's still a lot to play for both the Mariners and the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really fun, weekend. The same with the Diamondbacks and the Padres as well. That's going to be an interesting series as well. The D-backs, trying to get that last wild card spot. So, we kind of through the course of the year kind of poked fun at the schedule, if you will. But I guess when it's all said and done, we've got some very, very interesting games. Boston and Detroit, we weren't real happy about that, but that ends up being a great matchup. Same with Arizona and San Diego. This one with the Mariners. So I guess sometimes it does work itself out.
Yeah, congratulations, Rob Manfred. You got lucky. The Tigers the Guardians have extended their lead on the Tigers. It's now 3-1 in the bottom of the 5th. That win would definitely do some damage to the outlook here for Detroit, who sees themselves on the wild card standing page for the first time basically all season. I mean, this is in talking about the Mets and the Tigers. We could be looking at two of the most epic choke jobs down the stretch in the history of baseball, both happening within one season.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's what they are. They're choke jobs. Because think about the heater that the Tigers were on at the end of last season and how they just marched into 2025 and it was like they hadn't missed a beat. They just kept on pounding teams all the way up until about August. And then once August hit, they just seemed to run out of gas or something. They just can't get it done.
And I'm going to
the Reds
say
have now cracked the scoreboard against the Pirates tonight, 2-1. And if I was watching that highlight right, Mac, I got to go back and double check this. That might have been an inside the park home run there. Go ahead while I look that up.
It was. The Pirates finally took out Skeens. Skeens finally finished. He's gonna finish the year with an ERA under 2. I think I just saw it. It was like 1.97. He's gonna 1.97. That's how he's gonna finish the year with an ERA under 2. I mean that's a whole other story. He's just absolutely amazing. But yeah, I mean the Mets. I mean luckily for the Mets, here's the big deal. The Yankees have been successful. The Yankees are playing pretty well, and that's keeping some of the heat off of the New York Mets as far as the back page goes. I mean, truth be told, New York, that's the big thing. But I mean, that's going to be an interesting offseason if the Mets don't make the playoffs. But we both said it. I said it. You said it, Mike. We said, I said both the New York teams weren't going to make it. The Yankees definitely are. They're in. But the Mets, that's a different story. That's going to be an interesting offseason for the New York Mets. An owner that, spent a lot of money. We'll have to see what they do.
In doing a lot of stuff today in getting ready for tonight's show, I can't remember exactly where I heard it. And you guys know I hate not giving credit where credit is due. But this popped into my head today, and I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, nah, no way. Are we just sitting here going through all this chaos? And there's probably a higher likelihood than not that we end up with the exact same damn World Series that we had last year. I mean, does anybody else kind of see that possibility here that we get Dodgers and Yankees again?
No, I kind of alluded to it a little bit last week. I said I thought I don't. I guess we'll get into it. I don't know that the Yankees are the best team in the American League, but I think they're the most consistent team right now in the American League. I mean, I think there's teams that are better than them, but you look at it, they've kind of been the most consistent team. And it's kind of funny to say, but the Dodgers to me are a wild card team. I don't know what to expect from them. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I truly think the Diamondbacks are going to sweep the Dodgers in this series. I just really do. The D-backs played well against the Dodgers, but I said it the other day when I was going through, the West leaders. It's like, the Dodgers still have a great record. They're still winning games. It just, I guess our expectations for them are so high. I mean, they didn't win 120 this year. They should be disappointed.
See, higher by an exact World Series matchup at plus 1,600, and this is available, and yes, I did check it today, that we get an exactly the same World Series matchup. Plus 1,600, Dodgers-Yankees.
I mean, that's really good value, but I don't like the path that the Dodgers would have to take to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I think an opening round matchup, short series with the Cubs could be problematic. But, I mean, you're going to throw Ohtani out there probably. He'll give you a 5. And they'll probably throw out Yamamoto. He'll get you a 5, and then it's the bullpen. You got to rely on that bullpen. So, but if I'm spending your $50, I would do it.
People real quick here, Mac, and then we'll get a chance to try and jump in and we're going to try and call our shots exactly for the exact order of finish. For those confused at what Tony was setting up right there, the scenario he was setting up in a short series against the Cubs would be if the Padres do catch the Dodgers, that would put the Dodgers on the road in the wild card series at Chicago, which I think would be very interesting. Right now, if they hold serve, it's either the Dodgers hosting the Mets or the Reds. So, Mac, I'll give you the final word here before we try and call our shots on the exact fields for the American League and the National League.
I think this is one of the first times that you can look at the teams that are in the playoffs or going to the playoffs, and obviously we don't know them all, and I don't know that I can really put my finger on a favorite. I could make a case for a half dozen of these teams to get to the World Series. I don't think there's one team that I can really say they're the favorite. They should get in. I think this playoffs is going to be really a lot of fun. Like I said, I don't think there's one favorite.
Well, nobody's going to win 100 games.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
100 games.
Yeah.
Parity, bad baseball, a little of both. I don't know. Let's start with the American League, guys. Let's call our shots. Exact order of finish. Again, since by the time these playoffs start, we've only got basically a couple more shows this week, and with the layout of those shows, we're not really going to get to do this. So, T, I'll start with you. Give me your exact order of finish in the American League.
Mine's pretty much how it is right this second. I think the Jays are going to figure it out, but Bo Bichette's injury and now Ty France's injury, those are going to be huge obstacles to overcome. But I think they can get 3 wins out of the next 4. So I'm going to take the Jays, then the Mariners, the Guardians, the Yankees, Sox, and Tigers.
Interesting. Vegas Mac.
I agree with TJ. I think the Astros are going to be the odd team out in this. Like I just said, I think the Yankees are the most consistent team. I kind of put them like, if I had to seed them, they would be my number 1 seed. I'd put Seattle. It's October, and Seattle and October are like oil and water. They don't mix. We'll have to see. I put Cleveland third, and here's why. I mean, they're just not losing. I mean, at some point, they're going to take some L's, but right now, I mean, they're the hottest team going. And then I went Toronto, Detroit, and Boston. Those last 3, I don't know. I could flip flop them either way on either day. I mean, on a day like today, the Red Sox went out and blasted Max Scherzer. Yeah, early
Easy
on, I
for
could
you
say
to
that.
say.
Yeah, right. And so I mean, like I said, I don't. Those bottom 3, I could just flip them upside down. I just don't know.
To me, guys, in the American League, hot hand is the right hand, and the cold hand is the wrong hand. So I've got Cleveland and Toronto getting buys. I've got the Mariners, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and TJ's favorite team, the Astros. I don't think the Astros are going to get a whole lot of resistance from the Angels this weekend, and I think that might be the door that opens themselves, and I think Boston will step up to the plate against Detroit. So I have Detroit completely falling off the table here, and Cleveland getting all the way up to that top spot. And when you look at it compared to, tie-breaking scenarios, and I think a lot of us, and not just us, just everybody in baseball, kind of just wrote off the Guardians as a whole. They have tiebreakers over the Astros, the Tigers, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays. The only teams that they lose tiebreakers to, Cleveland does, is the Mariners and the Red Sox. And I think what I've said about the Tigers all year, Mac, and I know you kind of pushed back on this a little bit before the trade deadline, was my question was who the hell was going to step up to the mound, if you will, outside of Tarek Skubal, and I think we're seeing that happen right before our eyes.
Yeah, I mean they definitely have not responded well in the second half. They haven't pitched well. They haven't played well at all. So, like I said, those bottom 3 teams, it's who gets hot here in the next a couple of days. The Red Sox, a 4-0 lead on Toronto now. They could take the second in that series. They've actually, I mean, Ceddanne Rafaela has started to hit a little bit again, so he's starting on a hot streak. They just got Wilyer Abreu back from a long injury. They moved their rotation around. They have Crochet pitching tonight. The reason that they did that, they moved him so he would be eligible to pitch game 1 of the wild card. And so, I mean, here's the thing. The one thing I do love is the way Alex Cora manages this time of the year. He's fantastic this time of the year with the things that he does with the lineup and the pitching staff. So, in his mind, he's already thinking, we've got this. I'm looking ahead to game 1, and I love that attitude that he has.
All right, let's go National League. We'll start with T there. Let's move through the National League here and try and call our shots exactly.
Yeah, I've got pretty much as it is today, except for the last team. So I got Brewers, Phils, Doyers, Cubs, Padres, and the Reds.
Mac, give me your NL in the exact order.
Woo woo! I'm on the Milwaukee train. I'm not getting off that bad boy till it dries up. Let's go there. So I'm going Milwaukee, Philly. I'm going the Dodgers, the Cubs, San Diego, and your Arizona Diamondbacks.
Man, you need to put down the pipe, man. That ain't happening. My National League, I think if the Phillies had about another week of runway here, I think they could run down the Brewers, but they don't have enough time to do it. So Milwaukee and Philly, they get the buys. I have the Padres winning the West for 2 reasons. Number one, I think your theory, Mac, on the Diamondbacks and how they play the Dodgers is dead on. That being said, I think the Padres, anytime they have a chance to show that they're not little brother to the Dodgers is when they try and take advantage of it. And that series for the Dodgers against the Mariners, I think is going to be a massive hindrance to the Dodgers doing this. So I think San Diego will step up to the plate against Arizona. So I've got Milwaukee, Philly, San Diego, Chicago, the Dodgers, and the Mets. I think the Mets do, by some miracle-ass way, find a way to get in here. And I don't necessarily think it's going to be because they've earned their way in. I mean, last night, I have the stat here somewhere. Last night, I think it was, come on, where is it when I need it? I can't freaking find it. They had lost 80 games, I think it was. 80 games in a row when they were trailing by 5 runs or more. And last night they were trailing by 5 runs or more, and they were able to come back and get the win. And I just, I'm literally watching this happen with the Reds right here. They've been given a golden opportunity and a wide open door to take this, and they just can't do anything with it. And the Pirates are the buzzsaw in front of them. I don't think the Diamondbacks pitching is enough to get them there. Geraldo Perdomo might drive in 100 and score 100, by the way. I mean, if he didn't play in a league with Shohei Ohtani, that guy should be in an MVP kind of conversation. The only reason they're in this position, I think, is primarily because of him, and their pitching has kind of leveled out. But I don't think they've got enough. They're another team, I think, if you had another week of runway here, they might have a better shot, but I just don't think they have enough time here. So we'll see how it goes. As far as what's going on right now, bottom of the 6th, the Guardians are still up 3-1. We have now moved to the top of the 9th at the Great American Bandbox. The Pirates are still up 2-1 on the Reds. The Yankees up 5-1 on the White Sox. Red Sox up 4-0 in the 8th on the Jays. And the Mets and Cubs are 0-0. Why did I have to look down for that? It's right in front of my damn face. Let's move to some college football here, guys. Feel free to comment along if you're watching along. Vegas Mac is developing quite the fan club here amongst our viewing audience. Nobody could hear you because your mic is probably muted. 2-1 odds on that one. High or buy that Mac's mic was just muted, TJ?
No.
I'm going to buy that.
I wrote a little note here. See, it says Mike and a smiley face.
I think he's talking about you, brother.
Oh, God, no. 2-0 now. The Cubs have just taken the lead on the Mets. Guys, the big weekend on the college football gridiron. We know the big games. We know the big-time matchups. There's 2 of them this weekend, Oregon and Penn State, Alabama and Georgia. But there's also a plethora, a cornucopia, if you will, anytime you can work that word in, it's a good thing. Of good games that will have impacts on the college football playoff landscape. They're definitely going to have impacts on our Mac-12 rankings that come out next week. And we're going to start in Fayetteville, where the number 22 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish are a 4-point favorite over the Arkansas Razorbacks. Over under on this game, 64.5. And we talked about it last week, guys, and I'll start here with UT. About Notre Dame and could they make the playoffs and what they would have to do to make the playoffs, and that was go on the run they went on last year and start hanging up big numbers on a lot of different teams. I think this is a prime opportunity for them in a game that I've seen a lot of people don't think they are going to win. A lot of people are drinking that Razorback Kool-Aid, which is fine until you fumble it in the fourth quarter with a chance to win the game. But I think the Notre Dame defense here is what makes a huge and decisive edge in this game. And I think we are going to see Notre Dame go on another one of those runs.
Well, I mean, everybody's expecting that to happen. The Texas A&M ending was such a debacle from a Notre Dame perspective, but they came back, bounced back last week. Like you said, hung a big number on Purdue. So, but this is, you know what, Mike, we talk about Notre Dame having to make a run to make this playoff. I think this is a trap game for Notre Dame, to be honest with you. I think Arkansas is a pretty dang good football team. They're 8th in the nation in offense, and they're 6th in the nation in converting third downs. So this is no pushover. This is going to be a very big challenge for that Notre Dame defense.
Mac, what do you think? Hogs and Irish.
Yeah, I mean, the Notre Dame defense hasn't played well. We know that for sure. I mean, here's the bottom line for Notre Dame. They can't trap game nothing. They've got to understand that the playoffs for Notre Dame starts right now. I mean, this is playoffs for them. They can't afford another loss. I can see this. I can see this being a very high scoring game. For me though, Notre Dame's still some concerns. I mean, we talked at the beginning of the year how this is like their running backs, two of the better running backs with Love and Price, and they haven't even gotten going yet. And so it's going to be interesting to see if Notre Dame can get their running game going, because that's a big part of this. But you're right; it's about the defenses. Can any of these defenses stop each other? This could be a wild shootout. That over number might be tested.
Yeah, that over number is pretty high in this one. Again, it's at 64.5. It is now 3-0 at Wrigley Field. The Cubs have runners on the corners with nobody out, about to extend this thing. Seiya Suzuki must have been listening in his helmet, because there's another run for the Cubbies. This is not looking good for the Mets. But hey, Cincinnati's not giving them any push. I got the Irish to cover the 4 here. Mac, what do you got?
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, I think Notre Dame will win this game. I can see it being a shootout. I'll take Notre Dame. I'll give Arkansas the 4.5, but it may not be comfortable. T.
I'm taking the Hogs with the points and the over. I'm not sold on this Notre Dame team. Not at all.
We're going to go next to another game that obviously has huge implications in the college football playoff landscape as we start to form that picture as well. Number 4, LSU travels to Oxford to take on Ole Miss. LSU is actually a plus money road dog in this game. Ole Miss favored by 1.5. The over-under at 54.5. I watched the Lane Kiffin documentary before we started here, guys. Absolutely fascinating. You got to see it. There's a lot of things that happened in his pathway to Oxford that I think a lot of us kind of forgot about. USC screwing him at the beginning and then screwing him at the end. That whole thing was pretty fascinating to just kind of jog the memory back there. The other thing is, after watching this, I think I can finally put my dream of Lane Kiffin wearing a visor in the swamp to bed, because I don't think it's going to happen. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's worth your time. That being said, this is an LSU team that they played this weekend, Mac, that's kind of interesting. Offensively, they're really not going to wow you. Defensively, they are one of the best units in the entire country at forcing turnovers. Pamela Maldonado from ESPN today was talking about this game specifically, and I thought she nailed it. She goes, LSU is a team you play that kind of gives you death by 1,000 paper cuts. They're going to make the third down stops. They're going to force turnovers. They don't give up scores in the red zone. Obviously, we know what comes to the table with a Lane Kiffin Ole Miss team. It sounds like Trinidad Chambliss is going to get the start at quarterback, and I think the Rebels are actually better. And I'm not knocking Austin Simmons; he's a fantastic quarterback, but Chambliss really seems to kind of have something. He's been a winner before this level. I'm very interested to see this game because it's high octane against a brick freaking wall.
Absolutely. And, it's kind of funny. I mean, everyone at this point has pointed to LSU and said, well, even though they're 4-0, it's their schedule. Even though they played Clemson and Florida, they're not good. I mean, listen, this is as good a defense as you're going to find. I mean, they do a great job, especially against the run. So it's going to be interesting to see. Chambliss. That's why they have him in there. He's a lot more mobile quarterback. I really like this game. I think this is a chance for LSU to show that they belong in the talk as one of the top teams. I know there a lot of people are still questioning them offensively, and I get that. It's kind of like, it's the zebra. The zebra's, doesn't change its stripes. They haven't played well on offense, and so they're not going to play well on offense. I just think they're too good. I just really do. I think this is a game where that LSU offense is going to start taking some steps, and they don't need to take many steps with their defense.
I'll give you some numbers here. Ole Miss is 4-1-1 against the spread in its last 6 home games against LSU. LSU straight up is 7-2 in their last 9 against Ole Miss. The total went over in 7 of the last 10 games between these two teams, and it went over in 10 of the last 13 road games for LSU. Interesting stuff here. I flip-flopped back and forth on this game about 100 times since we knew we were going to be talking about this on Wednesday.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Trinidad Chambliss getting once he was given the job, basically due to nobody's fault. But he was he's been very impressive. I've loved what he's done. But yeah, I'm waiting for Garrett Nussmeier to have that breakout. And I think it happens this weekend. I really do. I think this is going to be a up and down the field matchup. And I like the Tigers, man. I like the Tigers in the over.
Mac, make a pick.
I like LSU. You're going to give me points. I'm going to take them.
I'll give you one.
I'll take one. I don't care. Give me
I
half
hate
point.
this game. I hate this game because where I can see this game falling is in a 27-24 range, which is under the total. I could see this being a goofy 28-27, some goofy ass total.
29-26 last year, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah,
and overtime.
It's I'm very interested to see if Ole Miss can move the ball on this LSU defense. And if they can, then I think we need to have a different conversation about the Rebels in their place in the hierarchy, because this is, for my money, arguably the best defensive unit. I would put Oklahoma up there as well. And I'd put Oregon's defensive unit up there. Oregon hasn't been tested like those prior two teams kind of have. But because I can't be Mac and be Switzerland here and I have to make a pick, I am going to say hotty toddy, and I'm going to take the Rebels because they're at home. 5-0 now at Wrigley Field. Mac, or T, you mentioned the inconsistently shitty pitching by the Mets. First of all, Dickie Lovelady is in the game for the Mets in the bottom of the third. Jonah Tong's already been pulled out. The starting pitchers, I can't remember who pitched last night. He wasn't around long enough for me to remember. 9 earned runs in 3 2/3 innings to start this series against the Cubs. So consistently shitty, they go again. Arizona, the Wildcats. Remember them? The team that plays down in Tucson, where there's more EGs than Mac ever likes to shy away from showing us. They are not near EGs. They're in Ames. So I know you're going to be down there channeling the spirits of Arizona this weekend. But this is a very, very sneaky, very, very good game. And I'm kind of excited to see this one. Mr. Tucson, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the Wildcats and the Cyclones?
I'm looking up the flavor of the month right now.
Oh, Jesus.
May
If you need me this weekend, don't text me in the group chat. Text me just personally because I will be blocking the group chat until he removes himself.
Blueberry bombsicle.
Jesus.
There you go.
Jimmy
There you go.
Christmas.
I'll be having a couple of those bad boys.
Horror.
Come on. All right. This is one of those games where Arizona, I'm not sure about them yet. They've gotten off to a really, really good start. But here's the thing. What scares me about this game is that it's their first road game. And your first road game, you're going to Iowa State. That's not an easy place to play. That's the key thing. However, they've done a really good job establishing a running game over the last couple of games. I think that's going to help. Iowa State doesn't put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and I think that'll help Noah when he has a lot of time. He's been really, really good in the pocket. I think this is going to be a very, very competitive game. This is another one that I think, T, you talked about this conference being loaded kind of from top to bottom. And this is another thing, this is a chance for an Arizona team to go on the road and make an absolute statement, kind of like ASU did last year. This is a chance for them to make a statement in the conference that, we're for real.
Yeah, but I mean, you talk about a team that kills you by 1,000 paper cuts. That's definitely Iowa State. They're not flashy. I mean, they had blowout against, I think it was South Dakota, but all the rest of their games have been tight checking matchups, and I'm expecting something similar here. But there's something about this Iowa State team that intrigues me. I'm not sure if Burkle's going to go at this point. But I love what Rocco is doing. He's just engineering drives and getting wins. And I really like the Cyclones this weekend.
Rocco's got a lot of that moxie in him. I love watching him play the position. And it must be a thing at Iowa State. You get these not the biggest guys in the world. They play with a lot of moxie. Obviously, Brock Purdy is one of those guys. Rocco's a lot of fun to watch. I'm going to give you guys some numbers here before we make some picks. Mac, you'll appreciate this. Arizona and Iowa State are playing for the first time, and I think you were about 25 years old when this happened. In 1968 was the last time that they played. Arizona defeated the Cyclones in Ames 21-12. I've been waiting for that for like 5 minutes. Arizona's 4-1-1 all time in the series. Now, we talked about the good start for the Cats here, and take this for whatever you will, but when we look at it from a betting standpoint, we're not betting teams, we're betting numbers. The Wildcats are 3-0 against the spread this year, covering by an average of 13 points. Now, granted, we know that the competition that they've played down in Tucson hasn't been the greatest, but they're a covered darling so far right now. 23-17 over Kansas State in their last game. Arizona's 6-3-1 against the spread in their last 10 games, coming off of a bye dating back to 2014. Those are always the ones that make me crack up because that was 3 coaches ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, the amount of players so I don't put a lot of stock into those, but some schools just have it against other schools. I am not buying 1 ounce of the hype behind the Wildcats whatsoever here. I think Ames is a very underrated, very difficult place to play. And again, the moxie of Rocco back under center, I think, is enough to get me to go Cyclones covering the 6.5. Mac, be careful how you answer this. You might be sleeping on the porch.
I know that's okay. I think Iowa State wins this game. I think it's going to be very, very close. I'll take Iowa State to the win, but I think the Cats cover.
Mac's calling for a close game, kind of like the run to the bathroom after a blueberry bomb pop from EG's. TJ, make your pick.
I'm taking the Cyclones, and I'm taking the under.
I think that's a good call. I think the under is a very good call, actually, in this game. Final one that we're going to spotlight. Again, these are the games that you're probably not going to jump out of bed to watch, but are going to have impact on all these conference races. And if you follow the theme here, we've kind of meandered our way through the Power 4 conferences, and we'll finish with number 11, Indiana, coming off of an absolute beatdown of Illinois last weekend, and they travel to Iowa to take on the Hawkeyes, who literally just when you think they can't rewrite bad offense, they've rewrote bad offense yet again. This one's going to be interesting from Memorial Stadium. Kickoff is 3:30 on the right coast, 12:30 on the left coast. I'm really interested to see this game here. I I hate the fact that, and I talk about this, and we've talked about this a lot, T. So I'll start with you. Uh, Jumping on numbers when you like them. This line opened at 7, I believe. I thought I heard somebody say 6.5. I haven't been able to verify that. It's now at 7.5. And obviously, when we're talking about betting numbers, there's key numbers. There's 3, there's 7, and there's 10. And then when we're talking about totals, 44 is typically one of the better totals, at least when it comes to the NFL side of things. The line is still at 7.5. I'm hoping that it moves down, but I don't think I can wait a whole lot longer. I really do think this Indiana team is for real. Fernando Mendoza has done a fantastic job taking over for Curtis Rourke and running this offense. And the thing that a lot of people need to remember here, Tyler Stevenson has just gone yard. Pirates and Reds tied at 2 in the bottom of the ninth. So the Reds breathing a little bit of life at the right time. They didn't lose a ton of pieces off of last year's great Indiana team. And I think people forgot about that and just kind of assumed that they were going to be a flash in the pan. All they really did was change quarterbacks, and they haven't skipped a beat, man. This Indiana team's fun to watch.
No, they are super fun to watch. I mean, last week, I thought that game was going to be way more competitive than it turned out to be. And Illinois they gave up 63 to the Hoosiers. Yes, you're right. Mendoza's been great. This team is very fun to watch. But Iowa has as bad as their offense has been for it seems like an eternity, their defense is stout as hell. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be a very fun matchup to watch here. The battle of the defenses, because Indiana's defense isn't too shabby either.
Mac, what do you think of this one?
Their defense may be stout, but here's the bottom line. They gave up 400 total yards to Rutgers last week. So there's that. And I'm pretty sure that the Indiana offense is a little bit better than probably what the Scarlet Knights put out there. So I think I really don't think this one's going to be close again. I think Indiana is going to win this one. Again, I don't think they're going to win it by the 50, but I just don't think, I don't think offensively Iowa's going to be able to keep up with what Indiana can do. I think Indiana wins this one. I'll lay the 7.5, or I'll even lay 8.5. I think Indiana wins this one big.
I'm going to take Indiana. The Rutgers game from a couple weeks ago doesn't really impact my thought here whatsoever because I know what the offense is on Iowa's side. I'm going to take the Hoosiers to cover the 7.5 T, and I'm going to play the game over 48.5.
I'm going to take Iowa with the points at home. I think this defense. This is an opportunity for the defense to rise to the occasion. So I'm going to take the points with the Hawkeyes.
I said Iowa hasn't beaten a ranked team at home since 2021.
Jesus.
How about
that?
I
didn't say they had to win, though. I just said they had to cover.
All right, let's slide over to the NFL, and we're gonna go to a place that the college football season started, Dublin, Ireland. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Minnesota Vikings. The Steelers, I read this before we started tonight, actually wanted to go to Ireland very early in the week and were told by the NFL, no, you can't do that, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. If a team wants to foot the bill in being overseas and get acclimated to the area quicker, what the hell's the problem? If the Vikings don't want to do that, that's on their ownership not wanting to spend the extra money. But here we are. We're going to be playing a game in Dublin. And I think the biggest question in this game, guys, and the number, I'm still a little shocked at this. Vikings 2.5-point favorites. Steelers are a plus 124 on the money line. Over under at 40.5. I stay away from any total when it comes to these international games because you have no idea what the hell to get. You have no idea who's going to hang out at the Blarney Stone and who's going to drink one too many Guinnesses. I stay away from the totals. I am a little shocked that the Steelers are plus money dogs in this game. I'm really interested to see this one, and I think the biggest question for me, Mac, and I know you'll have some thoughts on this, is Chicago extends their lead over them. Good God, New York, what are you doing? Which Steelers team actually shows up to play this week? Because I don't think we know the answer to that.
Yeah, we should have that song, Who Are You by the Who. Who are you? I don't know who the Steelers team is. Are they good on offense? Well, no, I don't know. Are they good on defense? They had 5 turnovers last week. against the Patriots, and they still almost lost that game. I just don't know what this team is. And that's a problem. Here's what I do know. I know they can't run the football. Their offensive line is terrible. And that's not going to help. The fields never look good when you go overseas. I mean, the fields always look sloppy, and I don't think that's going to help. The Steelers' running game at all. So again, I don't know who the Steelers team is. I have too many question marks. They look good on offense one week, bad on defense almost every other week. Too many question marks. Minnesota, they're very good defensively. They're going to put points on the board. I think the Vikings win this one, and again, I don't know that it's going to be close. I think the Vikings put a pretty good spanking on the reunion tour.
All right, TJ's, now that we can get off of Dr. Reverse Psychology there, tell me what you think of this game.
Being reverse psychology.
This is going to be interesting because, like you said, when are the real Steelers? Is this the real Steelers? Are the real Steelers going to show up this week, or is it going to be next week? I don't know what it's going to be, but both of these offenses are not great. And I'm willing to give Rodgers the nod in quarterback play over Wentz by a slight margin, but I have not been impressed at all by this Steeler team. I haven't been impressed with the Vikings except on the defensive side, and they are third against the pass. And if this team is going to, the Steelers are going to win this game, they're going to have to throw the ball. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm taking the Vikings.
I think Mac made a couple of excellent points there. I know I bust his nuts about being Dr. Reverse Psychology, but I don't think he's wrong here. I mean, there's two things that can be true here. Number one, the Steelers didn't give up any sacks last week, but Aaron Rodgers can't get hit at the clip that he's getting hit at. That's the thing. Number two, I think everybody's kind of overblowing, the Steelers defense sucks. Joey Porter hasn't played the last two games. He might not play this weekend either.
He's not.
Joey Porter Jr. makes a big difference there. So I did take the Steelers on the money line. I think this game is going to literally be the definition of a rock fight, and I'm probably at about 6:52 in the morning on Sunday. Thank God Hawaii is not playing on the island Saturday night. Otherwise, that would be to go from that to wake up to this rock fight would be miserable. But I think at about 6:52 in the morning on the West Coast on Sunday, I'm going to be like, why the hell did I get up for this? It's like 6-3 right now. Mm-hmm. Law averages tells me the Steelers defense isn't as bad as they seem, and the Vikings offense last week isn't as good as it's going to be going forward. Mm-hmm. I love the coaching matchup here. I'm going to take the Steelers because I like the odds there. I think there is some value there. Either way, I think it's going to be a butt ugly freaking football game. Eagles and Bucks from Tampa. And what do you know? The Eagles have another 3.5-point favorite situation this week. Fool me once, Jordan Davis just fall damn down. This game's going to be really interesting, guys. Tristan Wirfs expected back, as is Chris Godwin for the Bucks. Baker Mayfield probably playing pretty damn close to an MVP level right now, and he's getting more and more and more confident by the day. We already know the Bucks can win games down the stretch late. They just made NFL history doing that. I am fascinated to see this game, T. I know you are as well, because of the butt play and the creativity in the Eagles offense. I think a lot of people are very, very, very much overlooking Tampa Bay in this situation at home.
I think a lot of people are. My Eagles fatigue is starting to reach all-time levels with this stupid butt play. And how many times do I have to watch that damn field goal return? The Eagles, the Bucks need to make sure that they can run the ball. Irving needs to have a huge game. White needs to be effective to set up the passing game. Like, it's so cliche, but if Irving and White can run the rock, this is going to be a great outcome for the Bucks.
Vegas Mac.
Yeah, Philadelphia, they run the ball 54% of the time. First in the league as far as the percentage of their run, and the Bucks defense, running defense, is fifth in the league. So I mean, that's kind of the big matchup you have to look on this. I mean, I like this Bucks team. I really do. Like you said, I think you hit it right. I think he's not really being. It's early to talk, but Baker Mayfield right now, he is. He's playing at an MVP status right now. I like the Bucks. I think this is a game. Again, believe it or not, this is for the best record in the NFC. Both these teams are 3-0, so one of them is going to go to 4-0. I like what Tampa Bay has done. They still haven't got all the pieces to their team yet. They're starting to get them back. This is one of these, signature games that, we talk about a lot, but this is a signature game for Tampa Bay. They have to defend their home turf against what everybody considers the best team in their league.
I'm glad Billy V checked in with this because I want to give you a couple more layers to that. Jalen Hurts has lost 2 playoff games in this stadium. He was also part of an Alabama team that lost the national title game in this stadium. I am going to take the Bucks. I am drinking Baker, the comeback maker's Kool-Aid. So I am going to take that 3.5. Philly, you owe me one. No butt stuff going on here. Give me the Bucks plus 3.5 with a little bit of a sprinkle on the money line. Let's go on to another one that has the same spread, 3.5 points, as Indiana Jones and Jonathan Taylor and the Colts head out to SoFi Stadium to take on the Los Angeles Rams. Might be one of the few games the Rams have more fans than the visiting team. It's a rarity because, the next time the Rams play at home, that will not be the case. But I think this is another game that's very interesting. On your actual birthday, T, when the Niners visit SoFi Stadium.
I will not be making that trip, though, because, because Rams.
No, Pirates have just taken the lead in the top of the 10th on the Reds. It's 3-2 right now. Another interesting game. I think a lot of us are wondering who exactly this Colts team is. Everybody but Vegas Mac, because I almost choked on a beer when we were doing our NFL preview show when he had the Colts in the playoffs and was all over this. So don't add us. Go back and see it if you don't believe us. Mac's been on this team. The more and more you watch this team, the more and more it looks like they are playing with an absolute purpose and an absolute mission. Jonathan Taylor is off to... I think he's actually vaulted himself to the top of the Offensive Player of the Year betting odds right now. That's how good he's been, and you can tell how much of an impact that's having on Daniel Jones. And I'm really interested to see this one, Mac, because I am starting to maybe think that this Colts team might be for real. This is their biggest test so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Rams, it's kind of funny. It's really weird. They're fifth in yards allowed, but they've given up a ton of points, which is really kind of weird. So they're not giving up a lot of yards, but they're giving up a lot of points. And that's one thing that the Colts have done this year is that they have scored. And so this is again, like you said, first big test. Go out to the West Coast, see what they can do. I think this is going to be a fun game. I think this is going to be, again, one of these games where a lot of points are going to be scored. I can see this is going to be one of these, who has the ball last has a good chance to win this game.
See, this is one of those things, and we talk about it, I think, a lot from a betting standpoint, especially. That loss was like a soul crusher for the Rams last week, and how these teams bounce back after games like that. And granted, veteran, I mean, it sounds crazy to say about Sean McVay, but you forget Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are like the 5th most tenured coaches in the NFL right now. Not only that, you have Devontae Adams, you have Matthew Stafford. There's a lot of the right guys on this team that I don't know how much that plays in. But speaking of hot hands like the Guardians, this Colts team has got a hotter hand than anybody right now.
Oh, yeah, Danny Dimes, right? Comeback Player of the Year. Who had that on their bingo card?
But Carson Wentz, damn it!
Yeah. Like you said, this is going to be the Colts' biggest test. I love the vibe between Adams and Stafford is starting to come about right now, so that's good news for the Rams. I'm very impressed. Not just offensively with the Colts, though, but their defense is pretty dang good as well. So this is going to be a tough matchup on both sides of the football. It is pseudo indoors, though. And like you said, the Rams will have kind of an advantage because I don't think the Colts travel well. But that's this. I usually don't watch the Rams games because I think that the Rams and the Chargers moving to SoCal ruined football for me. But I think I'm going to be checking this one out.
It's funny. The 3.5 last week that I still won't get over until karma pays back the Eagles. But the Rams were also on the other side of that 3.5. So not only am I, Mac talks about the reunion tour, I'm on the freaking revenge tour this week. Bucks plus 3.5 and a sprinkle on the line. Colts plus 3.5 and a sprinkle on the line. I like the Colts here. I'm starting to kind of believe in this Colts team, and maybe a slight look ahead by the Rams. Highly unlikely, but maybe. Short week coming up for them, and they get division rival San Francisco next. Give me the Colts. Vegas Mac, what do you got?
I'm going to take the Rams in this one. I just think it's going to be just difficult to go out.
Colt.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I'm being honest. I just think going out to the West Coast, it's a little more difficult. This is going to be, like I said, I think a lot of points are going to be scored in this game. I just think the Rams are going to get one last chance, and they're going to win it right at the end.
DJ.
I'm going to take the points with the Colts on this one, and I'm going to take the over.
Let's go to TJ's home away from home, his favorite place to watch football, Arrowhead Stadium in Geehaw Field, where one of these teams is going to leave this game 1-3. Believe that or not. The Ravens and the Chiefs. And I am shocked. This number has not moved a single inch from when I first saw it after last Sunday night, after Monday night. It has not moved. It is the Ravens minus 2.5 on the road at Arrowhead. And again, one of these teams is going to be 1-3, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I think what I saw Monday night, guys, was, first of all, hey, Baltimore fans, since you were all over me last year, I'm not going to say what I said last night because that led to a couple very nice sound bites that were sent back to me on my cell phone this morning. So we're staying off of that pair of words today. How much do the Baltimore Ravens miss Mike Macdonald? This defense does not look anything like it did when they had Mike Macdonald. That being said, I think I have more concerns over what's going on with the Chiefs' offense than I do with what's going on with the Ravens' defense. I also thought on Monday, and maybe you guys saw this, maybe you think I'm crazy, I thought when Lamar Jackson had a chance to throw the football a lot on Monday, he looked very uncomfortable. He looked way more rushed than I thought he had to be. And I don't know why, maybe it was just the way I was seeing the game, Mac, but I really don't expect Lamar to not be as sharp as a freaking tack in this game because, again, when one of these teams falls to 1-3, they're in a little bit of trouble here as far as the AFC playoff outlook goes.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about that. The Ravens' offensive line hasn't been as solid. I mean, we saw it a little bit last year. We're seeing it more. He was, he was running around the entire night. And the Kansas City defense, we know all about the Kansas City defense. I mean, they're just as aggressive. They blitz all the time as well. So, again, this is it's an interesting matchup. I mean, like you said, it's not that they're fighting for their playoff lives, but this is going to be this is a game that, again, neither one of these teams can afford to lose, and one of them is going to do that. I lean towards Baltimore just a little bit in this game, just because I think. Just offensively, I just think that Baltimore is a little more effective offensively than Kansas City. I know that Kansas City is supposed to get Worthy back this week. That'll definitely help. But I haven't really liked the Kansas City Chiefs offense to this point. I just you think Baltimore's a struggle. They've really been a struggle.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we've talked about advanced metric stats a lot, T, and I don't particularly care for them when it comes to baseball. I don't think it tells me as much as they want me to think it tells me. Look at the San Francisco Giants. Launch angle was a big thing that Farhan Zaidi preached, and obviously that got them a whole lot of nowhere. But I think when you look at the NFL advanced metric stats, and I think more specific to the defenses, they really, really kind of tell you the true story of how a defense is getting beat. Baltimore's 29th in the majority of the advanced metric stats on defense here. I know the numbers. Your boy Patrick Mahomes as a home dog, they don't favor this, but I have more questions on the Chiefs offense.
I mean, the stats, the numbers on the Ravens defense are what they are, 30th or worse in most categories right now. It's very un-Ravens like. But like you said, that game against the Chargers that the Chiefs played, the Chiefs were not impressive. The next game that they played, not impressive. The game against the Giants, not impressive. This offense looks like I think we talked about this last season too. When they lost Eric Bieniemy, that seemed to take the offense from a superior level to a human level. And I think we're starting to see that again here in 2025. I just don't know, if the Ravens are going to be able to make the stop when they need it. We've always seen in the past, and I thought about this when I was watching the game on Monday night. In the past, you would always kind of think that, oh, the Ravens need to stop here. The Ravens need to stop here. And somehow they would get it. They would just get it. And when that pass went to St. Brown on the fourth down, I was like, this defense is they're just not the same. They're just a shell right now. So it's one of those things where are the Chiefs going to get healthy against a defense that's playing not so great? Or is the defense for the Ravens going to get healthy against a Chiefs offense that's at a subpar level right now?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely it. And it's as I started looking at the stuff for tomorrow's show and for the triple option video, you see it in Seattle, and everybody still looked at me kind of sideways last year when I said, hey, I love this hire by Seattle. I hate it as a fan of a team within the division because Mike McDonald was the only coach that made Brock Purdy look below pedestrian when the Niners had that run a couple years ago, the Christmas Day Massacre. And now you're seeing it with the Seattle defense. I mean, they're second in pass rush win rate up in Seattle right now. And it all starts and is predicated on their linebackers. Again, I think they'll be okay when they get Madubuike back and when they get Kyle Van Noy back. I mean, those are two premier players on the defensive side of the football. This could be the game, and the things that are going on with the Ravens defense right now could be the game that kind of gets Patrick Mahomes rolling. I don't necessarily know if I believe that. I am going to take the Ravens -2.5 at Arrowhead. Mac?
Yeah, like I said, I just think Baltimore's got just a little more in the offensive tank than Cleveland does. I think for whatever reason, I just think Baltimore is going to find a way to get this done. I want to take the Ravens in this game. As long as Derrick Henry can hold on to the damn ball.
Yeah, he's really got to hold on to the ball. That's been so uncharacteristic of him lately. But I'm taking the Ravens as well, and I'm going to take the over on this one. The Ravens are definitely scoring at will, which is a positive for them in a 1-2 start.
Yeah, I mean, even if Mahomes gets going, I would trust the Ravens to hang a big number more than I would trust the Chiefs right now. Final game of the weekend. Might not be much of a game, but there's definitely some intrigue to it. The Green Bay Packers and all-world quarterback Jordan Love travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. And Jerry Jones's circus, no CeeDee Lamb. Packers are favored by 6.5 points here, guys. And every time we see one of these games that we go, this looks like an absolute total freaking blowout, I tend to be surprised. So I'll start in the middle, Mac. First thoughts, Packers-Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys defense, we said it's not good. Let's just be honest. I mean, they won one game and they had to score, 40, 50 points to win that darn game. It's just the way that it is. And their defense isn't getting any better. I know your lack of love for the quarterback for Green Bay. But here's the thing. I think I'm not so sure it's him or if it's just the scheme. To me, when I watched him a little bit, it feels like I don't want to say they bring the game plan down, but like they're not letting him go. I said it last weekend with Raiola for Nebraska. Like he's the kind of quarterback I think you have to let go. I think Love is the same way. I think you have to take the interceptions. That's going to be part of it. I think you got to let him loose a little bit more. I think they've been really constricting what he's doing on offense. I think this will be a week where they don't have to worry about that because Dallas doesn't put a whole lot of defensive hurt on you.
I thought we were going to get another Mac dropping, let him cook there, TJ. What do you think of this
I was
one?
waiting for it. The Cowboys offense, though, I mean, yeah, no Lamb, but Pickens is going to have a huge role in this game. They got to find a way to run this.
Pickens a large role.
They got to find a way to run the ball. And this whole Micah Parsons thing, it's very fitting that this game is happening in September at the house that Jarrah built, because this is going to be a complete and utter circus. But I like the Cowboys in this game. I think they're going to pull it off.
It's funny because I thought you guys were going to hang me out to freaking dry in this one. I don't think this is as clear cut as everybody says it is. I can tell you that as much as we've been told, and as much as everybody's like, "Hey, we're really happy Micah got his bag and that legendary deal," I think there is a shit ton of people wearing that star this weekend that want to stick it to him, and this is kind of like their Super Bowl. Let's be honest with where they're at here. Am I willing to jump off that freaking cliff yet? It depends on how many drinks I have and how well my Sunday is leading up to this. Mm-hmm. But I don't think this is going to be as cut and dry as possible. I was actually kind of hoping this line would get kind of moved over that prime number, if you will, of 7. Hasn't quite done it yet. I have faith. I have faith that it's going to move that way. I have more faith that it's going to move that way than I do in faith in the Packers quarterback right now. I'm still not sold on him. And this is a game where, okay, cool. You should have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, this is a prime opportunity for Jordan Love to go, no, I'm that dude. And all this talk of the Packers had won the Super Bowl after week 2, it's like, oh, man, it's a long season. And this Cowboys team, I'm telling you, this is their freaking Super Bowl. I might be crazy. I don't know if I'm saying they're going to do it, but I don't think this is going to be as clear-cut as everybody thinks.
So you're saying he's not your pick for the 5 or 500? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely the hell not. No, until he does it, no. I could give you 5 quarterbacks I would pick. Those of you not picking up on it, I do have the quarterback pick for this week in our 5 for 500, which I have been downright horrible in. You guys have been pretty solid in. I could name you right off the top here, just scrolling through the schedule. I could name you 5 different guys that I would say I'd take that guy for 300 yards before I would take Jordan Love this week. Obviously, number 1 is the best quarterback in football who gets the defense or lack thereof of the New Orleans Saints up in Buffalo this weekend. If the Seahawks did what the Seahawks did to the Saints, their offense isn't anywhere close to what Buffalo is. But we'll get to that later. I'm gonna take the Cowboys on the money line here. I'm gonna have some fun with this. I'm gonna make sure I make a bunch of friends in Green Bay because I have so many of those already. I think this game is every couple weeks, guys. We know this. We get that one game like, what in the absolute hell just happened there? And I think this could be very much one of those games. I think the circus atmosphere actually plays to the Cowboys' benefit for a change this weekend.
I mean, we've kind of said that. I mean, I thought that's how the Cowboys came out in week 1 against Philadelphia. But I mean, here's the bottom line. I just don't think the Cowboys' defense is good enough. I mean, Green Bay is going to find a way. I think it's going to be an ugly Sunday night game. I really do. I think Green Bay puts a pretty good whooping on the Cowboys.
Nothing on Sunday night can be ugly when it starts with Carrie Underwood. That's not possible.
It's true.
I'm always waiting all day for Sunday night. All right, baseball scores before we get up on out of here. Guardians up 5-1 on the Tigers. That's bottom 8 now. Reds and Pirates in the battle of shitty attrition here. It's now 3-3 in the bottom of the 10th. Yanks are cruising 8-1. That's about to go final. The Cubs are still up 6-2 on the Mets in the bottom of the 5th. Nobody cares about the Royals and Angels. Nobody cares about the Rockies and Mariners. And the Dodgers, yet again, in the top of the first inning, are up 1-0 on the Diamondbacks. Let's see who did that. That would be Mookie Betts sacrifice fly. Right. So plenty of fun stuff. Tomorrow, a little bit later start on Lunchtime Live. I am going to be joined by a living legend in the sports gambling space, Bill Krackenberger. You've heard him on Fox Sports Radio, on VSiN, on Wager Talk. You've seen him on Twitter. He is going to spend the second half hour of the program with me tomorrow. We're going to debunk some betting myths. Going to get some of his tips for the new bettors out there. Maybe get him to share a play or two if he's so inclined. If he doesn't, then that's on you, man. You gotta figure it out. But I'm very excited for that conversation. So we're going to start the program tomorrow at high noon on the West Coast. Bill will join me in the second half hour at about 12:30 on the West Coast. Friday, Lunchtime Live. Mac and myself, the Ryder Cup will already be on for about 7 hours at that point by the time we get going there. So plenty of stuff to talk about. And we'll set a big weekend in Major League Baseball as well, Mac.
Did you see Bryson, his tee shot on one that they've been showing?
No, I saw Ed Orgeron hyping up the crowd. That was a little awkward.
Yeah, no, Bryson on the first hole, he's been practicing, and they showed it yesterday, trying to drive the green on the first hole. How would that be?
That'll get the zoo going in New York. That would be a lot of fun. I am not getting up at 4 a.m. to see the start of that. As much as I love the Ryder Cup, I will catch up as we go. TJ, any final words from you on this Wednesday night?
How about them Cowboys?
Dude, the best was last week when they lost to the Bears. And, of course, Jera has got to have his Jera press conference. And one of the beat reporters for the Cowboys goes, "Is this a playoff team?" And he goes, "The Cowboys? Who the hell do you think he was asking about, Jerry? The freaking Bears?" Like, I don't know, man. I don't get it half the time. I don't know how Cowboys fans can continue to be Cowboys fans. I know you're all waiting for the same day. So any final words out of you, Vegas Mac?
Do they do a tribute video to Micah Parsons? Do they do that? Do the Cowboys do that?
I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know if they will.
Right?
I think you're smart if you do. You don't want to piss him off on your subpar team anyways, but I think the problem on that field is not going to be him chasing Dak. It's going to be Jordan, and if he can find a Green Bay receiver anywhere within the Fort Worth Metroplex down there. So, plenty of fun stuff. A lot of stuff coming up this weekend. Follow us on our social channels at Mike Arana Show everywhere. But Snapchat, as T tells you, because we're not 12 and Snapchat sucks for everybody behind the scenes. For TJ, for Vegas Mac, I'm Mike. Lunchtime Live tomorrow at noon. Have a good rest of your night, unless you're the Mets.